Sorry, I haven't talked with a lot of people in a while. So, a brief introduction. I'm Paul, full stack developer at Rappler. So, I'm gonna share you today is not a Ruby specific framework. It's a web framework. So, if you love serverless application, I think you're gonna love this too, which is Microfrontend framework. So, it's called openComponents. Yeah. I haven't prepared. I didn't prepare my slide but I'm gonna do demo after this presentation. So the openComponent frameworks allows you to do an isolated web component that it's easy to inject in every existing web applications you have. So yeah, Microfrontend. So the website's description is here. openComponents is an open source battery included Microfrontend framework. The idea behind Microfrontends is to enable multiple teams to work seamlessly together by fostering end-to-end ownership of independently developed. So yeah, that's the idea, to have a component that that is running on its own, and you can easily inject it into your any web app. So this has three parts. So the first part is the component itself. This is what you're gonna build. Then the template system. So this openComponents is not bounded into any JavaScript framework or front-end framework you're doing. So currently it's supported React, Vue, Angular, Jade. That's quite old. I think they upgraded into Pug and Handlebars. And you can also create your own template by forking their template compiler on GitHub. Then the registry. The registry is the library of all your components. You can view all your components into a online registry and in a dev registry. Then yeah, I think that is all my. Are we all here web developers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are we all here knows React? Do you want me to demo an application, an openComponents using React, or you just want to show the code? Demo. So yeah, let's try. So you can install, sorry, I didn't include it in my slide that how to install these openComponents. You can search it in GitHub, openComponents, or openComponents.github.io. There's the documentation here. So this, this is how we're gonna initialize our openComponents. First, we issue the command oc init, then the name, what do you want? Give me a name, Kim. A logic.
Can you increase
sorry. Is that okay?
a couple more?
Yeah. So we're gonna, we're gonna issue a command, initialization command, and I'm gonna use the React template, oc init a logica. So gonna do an npm install, install all its dependencies, and give you a boilerplate of the project. So let's wait. Okay. So with the OC template React, it installs the React compiler from OC and downloaded all its React dependencies like React 16 and React DOM. and some OC stuff. So yeah, it's complete, I think. Yeah, happy coding. So you see it's created a folder here named AE Logica. Then let's try to A Logica. A Logica, sorry. Yeah. Now the basic boilerplate here is that we have a server.js, an app.js, which is already written some boilerplate template, the package JSON, and the styling. Sorry, masyadong. Yeah. So here in package JSON, there's a JSON file. There's a object here named OC, which is responsible for identifying what is the component and the parameter it needed. So there's a name here, name parameter. So files, the data, server.js. So you can do server-side rendering through this server.js, which is runs on Node, and you can do all the client-side stuff here in app.js. So let's try to create a basic React app. So to demonstrate, so yeah, create here a component folder. Inside the component, I'll create a blocks component. And as a style. So it's just an easy React component. It also the OC template React also has its own webpack, so it allows us to write CSS in JS code. So it will accept props and just return a div. With the class name of style.blocks. Yeah, simple component. Then let's write some CSS. Okay, so we have a basic component that we can import here in our main app. Yeah, I think I haven't done some export here. So our app has a parameter name, so we're gonna change the parameter name into what I'm trying to do is to have a application that will display blocks or boxes, whichever we specify here. So let's have a size that has a type of number, description, number of blocks. The default is 10 blocks, so we're not gonna make it a mandatory. Yeah. Then here I'll write some let blocks, create blocks. So if you're familiar with React, this parameter here will be processed here in server.js as a context params, and we can return it in the client side through props using this return here. So what I'm doing is that I'm getting the size params in the context and returning it into the client side. Yeah. So now that size will be a property of props here. So let's get it by extracting it from props, and for, let's say, I is equals to 0, I is less than the size, I plus plus. And the blocks here is an array of the component blocks. So blocks that push, let's push some JSX, yeah, and return the blocks. So what this function does is, from the parameter in the URL, it will get the number of blocks to be created and run an array and create a component blocks. So here we're gonna return a div and run that function, create blocks. So let's style this div, just a simple styling. So we're gonna do a flex row, since I think this is enough, I think. So yeah, here's the basic component, openComponent. So let's try to run it on dev, and so you can see also the registry. So the command is OC, then dev. I specified that, so it will search for all openComponent in this registry and run it in a localhost port 3030. Let's see. It doesn't. So I needed to be in the root folder, not in the folder of the component itself. Yeah, it found one component, it's packaging the component, and it started it in 3030. So let's try. So yeah, here's the components registry. It's a library. Actually, it's a library. All of your components will be listed here. So I have two components, which the one is OC client, which is already a requirement in the OC, and our Logica components. So let's, oh, there's an error. Sorry. Okay, style not found. Style.
If you didn't have an error.
Styles. So this should be styles, not style. It's gonna hot reload anyway. Okay, there is an error, but luckily I created this component earlier, so I can show you what I created earlier. Yeah, dude, let's try. That's the name of component. Oh, okay, I need to stop first this. Yeah. Let's try again. So yeah, here's my component, and boom.
Alright.
It printed, it rendered a 10 blocks because we defined here size 10. So if we're gonna preview it on the web, we can copy this href, copy this URL, and let's say preview size 200 blocks. So yeah, created the 200 blocks. So the question is, how are we gonna consume it on the client side or in the server side, or how are we gonna inject these open components into our existing web app? So that's one is easy. So create a new into playground and code good. Let's try. Yeah. So I have here a simple HTML file. So all you need to do is to paste this special tag here, OC-component, with the href of the component you want to render. Then some OC configuration here, which I'm specifying. I'm using OC template React and the OC client JS parser. So that's the only three. If you want other OC components, you can also put it in here. So it's like you have a empty web app and super lots of components. Then you can do just like building a Lego of web app. So yeah, let's try to run this one, the index.html. Yeah, it's run. I don't need React here on my on my consumer side. I don't need React. I don't need React DOM or any other dependencies I needed to run the open components. And yeah, it's still run. So you can change the size here you want. And if you refresh it, yeah, boom. So you can have multiple OC component in one application. Like, yeah, let's put it 15 here, and this is 15, so it should be a total of 30 blocks. So yeah, that's all for my for server side consuming. Just search for the Google Open Components in GitHub. There's a documentation here on how to consume it for server side rendering for Ruby, PHP, Node.js, and Python. So yeah, I think that's all my short demo.
Thank you.
So if you have questions,
it always takes guts to do live coding, so
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I actually haven't prepared my slides
Yeah.
on the final hours. So yeah. So questions? Who has questions?
Do you use this on production?
Actually, we're planning to. We haven't used this in production, but my architecture was a monorepo and separate projects of React components, then separate projects of services. Then I'm combining it. I'm combining the React components and the separate project services into this, so it can be just injected into websites and it will run automatically. Yeah. But it's production ready.
Okay.
Yeah. Questions?
I'm not that familiar with React, but what's the benefit of using the OC component versus just building a separate React app and then loading it?
The benefit of this is that you can have a library of your components and you can inject it. It's just a simple isolated code. It's a small. It's also a prune, but there's a different use cases if you want to code a pure React app. So it depends on the use cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you give an example of what?
So for this, for example, you can use this if you want to have a simple alert for your website, or you want an email subscription popping on your website. You can use this. It's easy to build, and also this is not only for React. It also for other JavaScript frameworks, or you can use vanilla JavaScript. So you can actually replace some npm packages if you have npm packages. You're subscribing to npm and paying for a private repository. You can just up a OC registry and put it instead of put it all your components here instead in npm. But yeah, there's always pros and cons, and it always depends on the use cases.
You only have to run one npm server for all your components?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I haven't discussed on how to put your component on the web, but there's a documentation where you will run a registry and deploy it on a server. Then you're gonna do some OC publish. Then the name of your components, it will send it to your online registry. So there's also a semantic versioning if you're gonna publish it. So yeah.
Alright.
And questions po? Please, wala na.
Cool stuff.
Thank you.